That's what this is about. This is about Mike Vrabel. That's who they wanted. No question about it. And he's a more seasoned, more experienced coach. I don't like this. They call it Black Friday Black Monday rather for a reason. This certainly typifies it. I don't know why it's not called White Monday. Doug Peterson got fired from Jacksonville. He deserved that firing. Jerod Mayo clearly was not given an opportunity, a lengthy enough opportunity, considering what Bill Belichick left him with from a talent perspective. Considering the record, considering the way the team performed, he didn't help himself with some of the comments he made, calling the team soft and what have you, and having to retract statements. And we get all of that. But no matter what we can point to, at the end of the day, the folks in New England were turning against Jerod Mayo. We all know this. And I think it has something to do with the fact that Vrabel is available. And that's really what's going on here. They don't want to lose him, especially the team like the New York Jets. They want to be in the running, and they can't do that with him as the head coach.
Absolutely. I hope Marlon Cameron.
That's what this is about.
Oh, that was the end of the clip. I was going to say, hey, did Molly Cameron have something to add to that clip?
Oh, she got to get hers in. Molly thinks she a part of the show for real.
Well, technically, she became part of the show after Max Kellerman got ousted out, which that was always a bad fit, anyways. So,
I liked Max, but I might have been in the minority in that regard. Actually, met him in person at the MGM in Vegas too. Dude is real cool.
Oh yeah, he's a phenomenal boxing commentator. Dude's legit.
No doubt. So I guess the first question is, let's just get it out the way. Do you see any racism here at TR?
Hell no. All this is look, Stephen A is always quick to this is why Stephen A is so difficult to want to be on his side sometimes, though, when he's talking about when he's having the conversations about being a Republican or some of the things that the Democrats are doing are alienating people from the base. And I think Stephen A probably did vote for Trump, but he has to say save face that he didn't vote for Trump. I would never vote for Trump, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so Stephen A always is on the fence about a lot of things. But when it comes to a race, he never misses that train. Never misses that train when it's time to say, hey, this is some race baiting. It's race baiting time. He reminds me of Jamel Hill, actually, though, because she never misses that train either. So with Jerod Mayo, when he first, if I could find the video, I'll play it. But when he first got to New England, Bob Kraft, the dude was talking about hey, I don't see color. And, Jerod Mayo's, he's been with the organization, which he doesn't really have Jerod Mayo doesn't have the pedigree like some other coaches. But, there's some other coaches that have been given that same position as well, too, that didn't have a pedigree. So it is what it is. The bottom line is when Bob Kraft got there, he was just hiring him because he thought he was a good fit for the position. And he'd be a good fit. But also, Jerod Mayo started playing the race car as soon as he got there. The media went along with it. And then, look, at the end of the day, when it comes to football, they don't want to hear nothing about race. They don't want to hear anything about, what your values are, blah, blah, blah. Can you lead this team? Can you be a leader amongst men? Can you, step into the shoes of Bill Belichick, which no one's going to be able to step into those shoes, at least not the first year. It's going to take some time. I understand he didn't have a lot of weapons, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Too bad, so sad. At the end of the day, if you lose if you lose the team, which it sounded like he did, you're gone. If you lose the fans, you're definitely gone. So, and you start doing some crazy stuff outside of football, you're going to be gone in most cases anyways. You got to win. At the end of the day, you got to turn lemon and lemonades. And I know that's going to sound cliche, and I know some people are going to be like, well, it's another black coach. Well, he's getting paid. He's going to get a check for wherever he signed to take that job. He's getting a full check. So it's not all sad, and he can get another job somewhere else in the league.
There's so many different angles I can take with this. Before I get to Jerod Mayo, let's start with Antonio Pierce with the Raiders.
Yeah. Yep.
He earned that job. And the reason why I say that is, you remember when he became the interim coach the previous year, and he had the Raiders playing really great the second half of the season. I think they finished the season on a winning streak.
Yes.
So that propelled him to the head coaching job. The players loved him. They were winning games. They looked like they were finally turning stuff around. They regressed this season. They're 4-13 now, and they weren't just beating chumps that were just placed in front of them. I think they beat the Chiefs one time, and then they beat I think he beat all of his rivals in the AFC West at least once
Well, the
in that time he
Chiefs
took
melded
over.
in. The Chiefs melded in. That was the last game of the season, I want to say.
They still though it counts for something. That doesn't negate the
Yeah.
fact that they were on a winning streak the second half of the season. I don't remember how many games it was, but the second half of last year's season, he had the Raiders playing dope. Now
Mhm.
this year they've regressed, so you could probably justify letting them go because 4-13 is a huge regression, especially when you finish the prior season on a winning streak. But also, the Raiders are a dysfunctional franchise. They still owe John Gruden for a 10-year contract. They make horrible
Seriously?
decisions after horrible. Yeah, remember when they
He got
signed
a
Gruden?
Bobby Bonilla contract.
When they signed Gruden, that was a 10-year
Oh,
contract.
you're right. You're absolutely right. It was like $100 million, right? Or it was like
I don't
one.
remember what the amount was. Now,
Yes.
I think there's some legal things involved here because, when they found some of his emails and texts, they tried to make the argument that he forfeited the contract. I don't know how that turned out, but I
Yeah.
do know they gave him a 10-year contract. So the Raiders
Yeah.
are no strangers to horrible decisions. That's what I'm going to say about the Raiders.
Well,
Now,
was John Gruden really a bad fit for the Raiders prior to the email scandal?
look, I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, so I'm not going to trash Gruden. He got us a Super Bowl. Now, he did it with Tony Dungy's
I was about
team.
to say. I was about to
But
say.
and let's be clear, Tony Dungy, every black coach that you see in the NFL right now, you need to thank Tony Dungy for it because he
Facts.
opened that door
And
first.
Mike Tomlin too, I would say.
Mike Tomlin came from Tony Dungy.
Oh
Pause.
yeah. The tree.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Tomlin is under the Tony Dungy tree, so it's Tony Dungy.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna say about that. I'm not going to trash Gruden. You can say the emails and the texts were homophobic, racist, blah blah blah. The question was, is he a good coach? I think he is a good coach. He just struggles to bond with these new age players. I think
Yeah.
ultimately that's what got him with the Raiders. Now the Patriots, I will agree with you. He came in there pulling the race card. Knowing how the NFL feels about controversy when it comes to race, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of shot yourself in the foot, dude.
Yeah.
You succeeded Bill Belichick. You have an owner of a team who half the time I don't even know if he's there or not. If he ain't getting rubbing tubs in a massage parlor, I don't know what the hell he's doing. So he walked into a bad situation. Whoever came in after Bill Belichick was going to fail. Let's be clear. And Tom Brady for that matter.
Yeah.
Brady left, Belichick left. Whoever came in was going to take that L. So me personally, I would not have taken that job. Not if I seriously wanted to be a head coach because you were going to fail no matter what. How do you follow that many Super Bowl rings? You
Well,
don't.
hold on. Jerod Mayo. Oh, you know what? He was only getting $3.5 million on this. I thought he was getting more than that.
So he was a stopgap. It sounds like he was a stopgap because that's not even a standard coaching contract. They get at least $4 to $5 million a year.
Yeah, it said he signed a 3-year, $8.4 million contract with the Patriots, including 600. So he got $6 million signing bonus.
He was a stopgap.
Yeah, $6 million signing bonus, $6 million guaranteed. So an average salary of 2.8. So now on the high end.
Yeah, and this is going to turn into Rooney Rule conversations again. And by the way, the Rooney Rule
Joke.
to me is hit or miss on how effective it was. But I also think we're focusing on the wrong things. The NFL, last time I checked, is 60% black, right? Why isn't that translating into ownership? I don't give a damn about the coaches in the GM spot. Where's the owners at? Why don't we have a black owner yet? Is it terrible mismanagement of money? Is it racism? Like, I don't know what the hell it is. I mean, Jay-Z tried to become an owner at one point before he do it the sports agent route. That's the conversation that
Well,
needs to
wasn't he
happen.
owner with the Brooklyn or were they the Nets? I know not the Nets, but were they after that?
You're talking about you're talking about the Nets, but that's NBA. But
Oh,
then
so okay.
once Jay Z started his sports agency, he had to forfeit his ownership of any sports franchise because now
Yeah.
you got a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Rock Nation still has their sports agency or not, but I know he is a consultant for the NFL when it comes to these Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I would argue that the best coach in the league right now is Mike Tomlin. I've never seen a coach do what he's done with what little resources he has. So there's
Yeah.
one side of it.
Is
Oh,
that
were
is
you
that
about
a
to say?
good thing though? Is that a good thing?
Is
Because
what?
you're right. He's never had a losing season,
Right.
but I bet people. I mean, Eagles fan here. Andy Reid, phenomenal. He did a lot. He had some flaws, but for the most part, Andy Reid is beloved there. However, when it came to his last couple of years, Andy Reid had to go. He just had to go. I'm not advocating for Mike Tomlin to be gone, but it comes a point where either the team stops listening to you, which what happened in Jerod Mayo's case. I don't know what happened in Antonio Pierce, other than he didn't have the weapons either. That the team stopped listening to him. I don't know. I wasn't watching him that much, but when it came to Andy Reid, he just had to go. And the team just needed to go in a different direction. And also, I think some front office personnel, I think they got fired in Oakland. I don't know if that was the same case with in the New England, but anyone that was associated with that hiring, they should probably get fired too. I mean, GMs have been getting fired.
Oh yeah, if they
But
getting the GM out of there, the coach is definitely gonna get out of there
yeah.
next. That's a no-brainer.
Hey, real quick, there, and I looked up a list of people that were fired within 1 year, just because, again, Stephen A. loves to play this race card. I'm like, there's been quite a few white coaches that have been fired in the first year. So, again, Antonio Pierce recently, but Nathaniel Hackett. I mean, and some of these coaches didn't really have the pedigree to get in there. But again, Nathaniel Hackett, Urban Meyer, and people forget about that. That was just recent. So maybe the Jacksonville are just cursed.
That when he was
Because
grabbing cheeks or something, didn't they have to get him out of there for that? Or was
oh
that
yeah,
when he was
yeah,
in?
yeah.
Or was that in college? I don't remember.
Probably both. But either way, he still got fired. Hugh Jackson for the Raiders. Again, Raiders are just cursed. Freddie Kitchens for the Browns, another cursed franchise. And then also Steve Wilkes. There was Chip Kelly. Like, people forget about that San Francisco
Oh,
team.
Chip.
Chip
Chip got caught with the side chick. No, that's not Chip. That's the guy from Louisville. Never mind.
Yeah. No, but Chip Kelly, I mean, he left the Eagles and he got ran out of Philadelphia with the with Eagles. But and then Jim Tomsula, also another 40, which the 49ers on here twice, firing their coach after 2 seasons. It looked like the Browns are on here a couple times. Rod Chudzinski, 2013. So yeah, I mean, there's more white players, white coaches on here getting fired in that first season than there are black coaches getting fired in that first season, and nobody's having that conversation. So this is nothing to do with racism. This is all to do with like, hey, bad timing. And I'm actually, you know what, controversial or not, I'm okay with NFL teams picking their best friend or a friend of the friend, or hey, this guy I just felt like who was that? Who was it? The Oakland that said they picked some dude off of, he got advice from like some dude off the street to pick their next coach or something. I forget who
That
it was.
sounds like a very Raiders thing to do,
Or
honestly.
or even like the Colts coach, Jim Irsay. That dude is bananas. That dude's crazy. I would never trust him with a football team, but here we are. He got a football team.
Oh,
He's
you
a
talking about the owner, Jim Irsay, not the coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my bad. Yeah, the coach. I mean, sorry, the owner, Jim Irsay. These owners, they're allowed to pick who they want to pick, and good choice or not. I mean, I'm really surprised that I thought Jerod Mayo, well, at least Jerod Mayo will be there at least a couple of years,
Yeah.
just because of Bob Kraft. He's all super woke, anyways. I just thought he was gonna give him a couple of years just because he's like, hey, it's a terrible year. It's right after Bill Belichick. I'm gonna give you a couple of differences. But when you lose the team and you stand on this woke crap, you're gonna be fired. Like, people know this. Players know this. Teams know this. Most companies know this. You stand on this woke shit nowadays going into 2025, you're probably gonna lose your job or you're gonna get blacklisted.
All right, so I see all of that, and I'll raise you this, and I'm gonna drop this name on you, and you know where I'm about to go when I say this name. Eric Bieniemy. Why hasn't he had an NFL coaching job yet? You
Hey,
can't say it's because he's not qualified. So what other reason is there?
so from what I've heard about Eric, or at least what I've seen when his name is discussed, it seems like Andy Reid is the one getting all of the credit, which I I
But
don't know.
why? So Doug Peterson is an offensive-minded coach, right? He came under it. He's an Andy Reid coaching tree guy, right? He got it
Hey,
out.
Dougie got, and the Eagles got Dougie out of there as soon as he had a couple. I mean, and Dougie
But he
got to
went
the
to
Super Bowl.
Jacksonville. Eagles got him out of there. Then he went to Jacksonville.
Yeah, and he just got out of there too. He just got fired. So,
And
yeah,
Eric Bieniemy got the Patrick Mahomes seal of approval. Patrick Mahomes is out here endorsing Bieniemy, like, hey, somebody need to hire this dude.
see, but that's the thing though, is like, I mean, I don't understand why they're not doing it, and maybe Andy Reid needs to do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he has a terrible agent. That's something I can come down to it, because there's plenty of teams that should take a look at Eric, but if they're starting to think that Eric is not, and Eric, is he offense or is it defense? Which one?
He's an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. So usually the OC, they're the ones that getting the job. So I understand why they're not getting the job, but I got one better for you too. Your coach, like, why hasn't he been fired? They're talking about he might get fired, and they just got to the Super Bowl right after. I mean, not Super Bowl, but they got to the playoffs right after leaving or losing Tom Brady.
One thing I could tell you about Todd Bowles, because I follow Tampa Bay like a hawk. He gives boring interviews. He's very monotone with his talk, but the players, they love you, man. They
Yeah.
love you, and that's probably what keeps him around the most. He's a defensive minded guy. I'm wondering why he hasn't fixed our secondary these last couple of years, but
Yeah.
that's going to keep in. And we just won a division 5 times in a row, so he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So going back to Stephen A. and then other people having this conversation, is it fair why are they still having these conversations about race? Because if you're saying it's about race, then you got to be honest with all the other people that were fired. But Stephen A. is not doing that. Stephen A. reminds me of legacy media or mainstream media, where they omit the whole, this is all about race because it's, click friendly, but they're not really being honest. Like, that's the conversation. I don't know why, like, Stephen A, I mean, he's still going to, I mean, Stephen A is more, I want to say maybe he's more right than wrong in most cases, but he's definitely wrong, especially when it comes to race. It's usually never about race. Do you remember when Stephen A went off on, what's his face? The Brooklyn team, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? They advocated for Steve Nash to get there. Steve Nash didn't deserve that damn position. Steve Nash had never really organized or never really coached an NBA team. I think I don't know, he was a coach. I think he was just like helping or something, like when he was in Phoenix after he had retired. But Steve Nash didn't have any coaching experience. Matter of fact, Steve Kerr didn't have any coaching experience. And I saw all these
coaching the Lakers right now.
Well, who advocated for old boy to get there?
I can't compare the NBA to the NFL because let's just say the NBA is run by the stars. It's not, the stars tell people what to do. We've seen it time and time again.
Can we just do a video about why the NBA is declining? Okay, got it.
That might be why.
Yeah.
They're calling the shots. The stars are basically GMs. They wait. I've seen LeBron. He did this when he was in Cleveland with David.
Yeah.
But I've seen it a few times with the Lakers. He'll wave off the play call that the coach threw in. He's like, no, we're going to do this instead.
Yeah. Which I think
I can't compare that to the NFL.
I think Stephen A has been honest with LeBron James though, but I mean, for them to say it's racism, I mean, racism when it comes to stuff like that's just not true. And if it really was racism, Mike Tomlin, I mean, again, he's never had a losing record, but he only has one Super Bowl win, and he got that from I forget the coach that was there before him, so it's essentially with his team. I forget that coach's name, but anyways, he got the Super Bowl win, and I think he's only been to Super Bowl one time since then, outside of the first Super Bowl win. And chat, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I mean, he hasn't been fired. And again, if we're keeping coaches because of winning records, but not winning the Super Bowl, at some point you got to go in a different direction, because because it's a well-run organization. That's probably why he's staying though. But I mean, is that really a reason?
Yeah, and Mike Vrabel was another name that floats. Now I'm taking it back to the white folks now. Mike Vrabel was a name that's being floated around as a possible coaching candidate in multiple places. And that's one that has me scratching my head as well. Because if I recall, he hasn't really he didn't accomplish much in Tennessee. His name keeps getting thrown around. He's a Patriots guy. Are the Patriots going to go after him too? Like, I see people like him And I'm trying to remember the last coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He worked at ESPN, and then I think he quit ESPN mid-season to go coach them. I think his name was it Jeff Saturday.
I thought that was Arizona, but you're right. Jeff Saturday did do. Yeah, it was Jeff Saturday. Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
seeing stuff like this, and then I'm looking at Eric Bieniemy, and I'm like, I'm not saying it's racism, but I am saying it's confusing. Like,
Look,
what is the difference here?
the difference is you gotta know the right people. You're not. I mean, you know who does this very well that men just do not understand is women. Women understand most guys. Hey, they're not going to listen to me because I can tell them everything. I tell them, how to get a bag or something. They're not going to listen to me. They have to resort to other things. And I'm not saying men got to start sleeping their way up, which no man does that. But men got to start. They got to start networking better. They got to start going to the places where these owners are at. That's either the sports club. They got to start getting people that are working that they come in contact with that are working with them. Like they got to push their name up there. They're like, look, we got to get this guy in there. Jerod Mayo was that guy. People wanted Jerod Mayo to be the coach and also be the guy to go in there. And Jerod Mayo has no business. I guess he did work for the organization, but again, Jerod Mayo had no business really, stepping into that. I'm glad he's going to get paid, but again, Jerod Mayo shouldn't have been there because he really didn't have the pedigree. But I don't care who the coaches or how owners how if they want to hire some dude off the street, so be it. They're going to destroy their organization, but I have yet to see any owner lose his team because he hired the wrong coach. They're just going to trade him out for another. I mean, if that's the case, Jerry Jones needs to be gone. He's hired terrible coaches.
Yeah, and by the way, Mike Vrabel has interviews scheduled with the Bears, the Patriots, and there was one more. There, I don't remember the third team, but there's three teams that are looking at him.
Yeah,
And
Mike McCarthy. I forgot some team just asked the Cowboys if they can reach out to him for an interview. Why is Mike McCarthy? I mean, I get Jerry Jones he's annoying, but Mike McCarthy didn't have a good showing in the Green Bay either. Like
I
those
think
last
I think
several
Dallas
years.
is where coaches go to kill their career because if you're in Dallas, you're not. Look, that I hate the Cowboys, so I love when they lose. But the
Yeah,
problem with Dallas is Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Jones. It's
yeah, 100%.
100% Jerry Jones. But if you're a coach there, you don't have full power. You're going to have decisions. You're going to make decisions that are going to get overridden.
Yeah, but see, everyone knows that. That's the thing. Everybody knows that. Jerod Mayo, he went into that situation thinking that he's gonna be beloved and he could play the race card. He should have known what was going to be happening. But this is the thing. This is the problem with the media and people like Stephen A. Smith is that they are telling these guys like, yeah, you should, or reporters also too. They're trying to, because I know they were asking like, how does it feel to be the first black coach in New England, which I think New England does have kind of I don't want to say a race problem, but they do have an image problem when it comes to race. So I know they're super progressive, but they do have an image problem. I'm not my words. That's just what I see on the interwebs. But at the end of the day, like, I mean, Mayo, he was drinking the Kool-Aid. He was drinking the Kool-Aid with all these other people thinking like, I'm here because people want me to be here, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, that might be the case. But at the end of the day, you don't win your race, your gender, your shiny teeth. That's not going to save you. They're going to get you up out of there. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, middle of the season, they're going to get you up out of there. He's lucky he didn't get fired in the middle of the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and answer the question that I asked earlier. Is the NFL racist? I'm going to say no.
Oh wait, did I answer
I
your
think the
question, right?
NFL is more
Yeah,
concerned with being neutral than they are with anything else, and sometimes it gives the appearance that they might be racist, but they're not. They just want to stay out of it. But sometimes staying out of it ain't an option. But that's probably the best route for them to take because if you stay neutral, honestly, I think all sports should be neutral. I don't really care
yes,
how you feel
I
about
agree.
anything. I'm watching this to escape for a temporary escape to relax after a hard week's work, and that's how you should view sports. So
Yeah, and
somebody need to hire Eric Bieniemy, man. I'm gonna keep saying that.
yeah, and then one more thing before we wrap this up, though. I've one of the things when we talked about the NBA thing, one thing I didn't even consider why the NBA was losing ratings, and I just thought of it when Jerod Mayo. These sports reporters, anytime there is a black coach or some coach with something that is a non-white coach, they always bring up these stupid questions. Hey, so have you talked to the other black coaches? They just did that with the Notre Dame coach, and the dude was like, yeah, that's fine, but let's not take away from the team. I'm here because of the team. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what the media's what their obsession is with race, because that does not nobody's going to ask your race when you have a losing record or your team doesn't like you or you do some crazy scandalous stuff. Nobody's asking about any of that stuff. Nobody cares about any of that stuff.
You know, I understand exactly why they're obsessed with race because it's an emotional topic and emotions drive traffic, conversations, and clicks.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and it's really messed up. They need to be called out, though, because part of the reason why the NBA is struggling is because of silly stuff like that, though, because they're asking these really dumb questions. That's why you get some of those boring answers or monotone coaches. I mean, even who's the Spurs coach? I forget I'm blanking on his name.
Popovich.
Pop,
Is he
yeah,
still,
Pop.
he
I don't
still
know why I
coaching?
blanked on that.
Yeah.
But even with Pop, though, he would give these epic rants against these coaches or these reporters because they're asking really dumb questions. But I also think when you're asking these questions, I mean, Steve Kerr, he doesn't really answer really dumb questions, but he's always giving his 2 cents about race and everything. But you shouldn't even be there. You know who should be there is Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson only got ousted because his decision or because his beliefs when it comes to gay marriages. That's the only reason Mark Jackson should have been ousted. And matter of fact, if Mark Jackson, if they really loved him, they want to play this race card, why did the players play for him? Why did the Brooklyn Nets play for Steve Nash? Why are
Mark Jackson is a great one, man. He changed the culture of Golden State.
Yeah,
They were losers before
he
got
created that foundation that Steve Kerr went with. I mean, they started to win right after Steve Kerr. So I don't hear anything about he gave a different setup or they ran things a little bit differently. No, they were 1 year away of Mark Jackson having that success, and the owners could not take it. And wasn't anything. It didn't have anything to do with race or genders because they had a different opinion about gay marriage. That was the only thing.
He saw something in Steph Curry that nobody else saw it too, because he was one of the main ones advocating to draft him. Because Steph kind of just when he was at Davidson, he just exploded and blew up during the March Madness tournament. Nobody knew who he was before that March Madness tournament. But Mark Jackson was talking about Steph Curry way before that tournament started.
Yeah.
So he has an eye for talent too.
Yeah, and what is good for? He gets to go back to TV, and I don't know if he kept his job after they did those. They had those layoffs. I know his co-host.
Well, he signed to Mason Cam right now. He has a podcast under their label.
Oh, okay. So he did lose his job. So again, with Stephen A. Smith, he wants to have this conversation about race, but look at the media. The media is part of the reason why Jerod Mayo got fired. You made it about race. That's the only thing you focused on instead of his pedigree and if he's a good coach, and he got himself fired. I mean, there's a couple of reasons, but if you don't want to talk, don't talk about race. Stick to sports and shut up and dribble.
I ain't taking it that far, but I don't care what your politics are, bro. You want to get up there? I'm talking to you too, LeBron. I don't care. I mean, that's cool that you're doing those things, but I just want to see you play basketball. I'm not going to tell you shut up and dribble, but I don't care what your politics are.
Yep. All right. That's going to wrap up this episode. Final words, MC?
Nah, I'm good, man. Thank y'all for rocking with us again. We're going to keep cooking week after week.
Hey, go Eagles. Take the Packers down.
Peace.